Dr. Payal Kohli joins us live. She should take my heart rate. Oh, look, she's in lemon meringue. Oh. Hi.
Tori, I'm a little worried. Should I come into the studio and check you out?
You know that would be my preference. Before we get to viewer questions, let's quickly talk about testing. The FDA is now warning that one of those popular tests is inaccurate. They say 20 out of every 100 tests will show up as a false negative. This is the Abbott White House test that they've been talking about. What can you tell us?
So, Tori, you know, we've put a lot of stock into this test, and in the hopes of getting a rapid test, sometimes we have to cut corners. And unfortunately, this test study this week showed that up to 48% of people who have the virus may be coming out negative with this. So you can imagine this is no better than a coin toss, because almost half the people that are infected with the virus are getting a false negative or a hope that they're not infected and they could then go around and spread the virus to others. So this is a real problem, and they're still looking into why it is. Is it the swabs for the test, or is it the medium that they're using to transport? But what the company has said, and they continue to defend their test, is that if it's positive, you can really hang your hat on it. But if it's negative, you may need a second test. But overall, this has me a little bit worried, because we've made a lot of decisions based on these tests. And if half of them are wrong, then that's going to, you know, affect what we do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that is super alarming, but I'm sure that you're going to keep us up to date on what the developments are. But let's get to some viewer comments, because Trevor asked, excuse me.
We're all doing well here.
I keep hearing about how this winter could be the worst in modern history. Does Dr. Kohli agree? And if so, is there anything we can do to prepare?
I think I am going to come down and check both of you guys out in just a second here. So, Trevor, that type of language, that the winter is the worst in modern history, generally I find that a little bit alarming and frightening. So I'm not a huge fan of the language, but I do agree with the message that it's sending, which is basically saying that things could unravel quickly. And my main concerns, which we've talked about before, are that most of the states that have opened have ignored the gating criteria, which is that 14-day decline that the White House told us we had to see. And we don't have the testing and tracing in place in most places. So things could get bad this winter, but there is things that we can do. These are mitigation strategies that we can do, and that's what we're doing: the social distancing, the masks, and really avoid the temptation this summer to go to crowded places. I know it's tempting as things open up, but we all have to do our part to avoid that.
That's a good point. All right, before we go, I'm so lucky we didn't get one yesterday. It's time for Dr. Kohli's silver lining. Oh! That was weird.
That was great.
Thanks. Your alma mater is working on some cool technology. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So Tim the Beaver from MIT has matched up with John Harvard, who's Harvard's mascot. It's kind of weird to have a person as a mascot, but whatever. And they've come up with this really cool technology. And this is basically a little sensor that's either embedded into a mask, or you can add to your own homemade mask, that lights up the mask when it detects the coronavirus.
Whoa.
So it's actually like having a test all the time. So you're wearing this mask and you go out, and it takes about an hour for it to light up, and it lights up an hour later and tells you that you're positive for the virus. And so, and the mask and the sensor are stable on the shelf for several months.
Wow.
And this technology has also already been tested in measles and flu, and so we know that it works. So if it works for this could be a real game changer, because we could give these masks to everybody, and then we would know before somebody comes into a grocery store or doctor's office or anything if they're positive.
Wow.
So really a good silver lining from Tim the Beaver.
Good for Tim the Beaver. And you, I think those are your alma maters, MIT and Harvard. You should really beef up your resume, Doc. You should really work on that. Unbelievable silver lining. Thank you. And of course, Dr. Kohli will be back next week. So if you have a question about coronavirus you want answered, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com.